do you see him kind of as a Dover ringer in the same way that Tyler Reddick was at Homestead on his way to a couple championships in this series a few years back? Or do you think that he's somebody who could put these kinds of performances in and week out? He just needs a full-time ride to do so.
I'm not sure. I think this may be a little more of he's got an expertise at a special kind of track, and it just so happens to be close to home in Mayetta, New Jersey, with Dover, Delaware. I think this may just be. I mean, he's certainly really good at Dover Motor Speedway, and it was amazing. Like he only had to lead 3 laps to win this race, and had to be leading there at the white and during overtime to be able to take the win. But yeah, Ryan Truex, he's had his opportunities in the past in the Truck Series. He went what was it, full time in 2021 and also 2017, and those were somewhat fruitful there. No wins, but a couple of top 5s and about 3 top 10s in 2021. But looking at his few starts here in the Xfinity Series, I mean, already racking up 3 top 10s this year, and the 1 top 5, and had 3 top 5s last year for Coach Joe Gibbs, including that win here same time last year at Dover. So, maybe in Toyota equipment, it could be a different situation. It would be interesting to see if he could get that opportunity, especially if he could maybe double down on the success he's having at Dover with another win this year.
Yeah, I think Ryan certainly made the most of his opportunities. Obviously, he's been running part-time with the Toyota and Joe Gibbs family for the last 3 years now in the Xfinity Series. But I do think, I think it's probably a combination of both. Ryan's been in the sport for a long time. He was actually a Toyota and Gibbs development driver way back in 2012 and sat on pole at Dover and finished second 12 years ago. So he's always, had a little bit of speed here and maybe, a secret ingredient to try to work his way to the front of the field at this track, throughout his entire career here. But he certainly made the most of the opportunities for the last 2 years coming back. I think at the same time, though, I would like to see him full time. I don't know if there's enough room in the Toyota pipeline or stable right now. And, still in his early 30s, I wouldn't even rule out an eventual return to Cup, because his first Cup Series stint was BK Racing in 2014. And, there's only so much you can do on a ride like that. So I don't feel like he's really ever gotten a full, legitimate shot in a top Cup Series ride or a fair shot in a Cup Series ride is what I'm trying to say. So, that's just, that's the way things go in the sport sometimes. It's unfortunate, but, the way he's driving right now, Dover especially, I think is unequivocally his best track at this point in his career. But I do think, you look at some solid runs that he's had. He almost won Phoenix last year, driving the Gibbs car. Has had some strong runs here and there as well. I don't know if he would be a championship 4 favorite necessarily. I don't know if he would be the number 1 Toyota driver if you gave him a full-time ride, but I think based on the performances that he's shown, I think it couldn't hurt to give him that opportunity and see how he would perform over the course of a full season. He hasn't run a full season in Xfinity since 2018 with Colleague Racing, only had 1 top 5 that year, but that was really a year or 2 before Colleague started to come into their own and become a weekly contender in this series. I think AJ Allmendinger's arrival really coincided with that. So I don't know if Colleague was even quite where they are now. We think of them as a top team in the Xfinity Series. I don't know if they had quite achieved that status yet in 2018. We know Joe Gibbs has achieved that status and has been at that level for many, many years. So to give him a full-time opportunity, I think would be a great opportunity for him and a great opportunity for the fans to cheer him on. And, who knows, maybe he could, squeak out a couple of wins here or there at a track other than Dover as well.
Well, even with Colleague in 2018, the Xfinity Series it was about a third of the season he had top 10. So really not that bad, even if Colleague wasn't even in their prime yet.
Yeah, and that was probably about, the ceiling that Colleague had on most weekends, at that point in time. It was running in the back end of the top 10. If they could come away with the top 10, it was a solid day for them. Obviously, we know now, they've been to a couple of, they've been to 1 championship 4, probably should have gone to a second with AJ Allmendinger. And, the 2022, you think of the top 10 streak Allmendinger had, that was the first year that we were doing this show. And we were tracking that streak every week, it seemed. But, he only had 5 races that entire year where he wasn't in the top 10. The only problem was 2 of them came in the round of 8. But there's no doubt at this point that that team is capable of championship runs. I don't think that you could necessarily say that about them 6 years ago. But again, he's in a different place in his career now, and obviously, Toyota and Gibbs have a very strong Xfinity program. I think that it would be a great opportunity for him, and I don't know. I mean, again, I'm sure Toyota has a lot of prospects that are waiting for that 19 car, but wouldn't it be something if maybe Martin steps back in a couple of years, and maybe Ryan Truex, maybe Martin does one more year, does another 1 year deal, Ryan gets a full-time shot in 2025, and maybe goes out and surprises some people. That would be certainly poetic if he were to maybe take that seat. That might be a little bit wishful thinking, though, because I know he has a lot of competition for a Cup Series seat at Joe Gibbs or at any of the Toyota cars. But he certainly has the family relationship with Martin being there at their Cup program, and he's making the most of his opportunities with that team and that family on the Xfinity side.
Absolutely, yeah, it's working really well for him, and wouldn't be surprised if there was some opportunity that showed up if he keeps improving.